Hello, welcome to day 17 of the hip stretch series. Today we're going to take it slow. Yesterday we went fast, so we're doing an opposite thing. We're only going to do about 3 poses, and we're going to hold them for kind of a long time. So, I have my blocks here, I have a blanket that I can roll up, and I have a big pillow. So if you want to take a second and get those, go for it. For the pillow, I have something that's a little bit larger and squishier and firmer. You might not want something that's really flat and little, but you can also get 2 blankets and stack them together for this. If you don't have a suitable pillow, it's up to you. You do you. So since we're going to be taking it so slow, it's really important that you take your time, you listen to your body, and you ease into the pose. So we don't want to go in deep as hard as we can, push that knee all the way to the ground or something when we're not ready. We're going to settle in. Don't hurt yourself. So try to take it slow, try to really pay attention to what's happening in your body and with your hips, and we're going to get started. So first thing we'll do is that wide-legged child's pose, which we've done, and we're just going to move all our props and things off to the side. And start with our pillow right in the middle. So take your legs out long, or your knees out wide, I'm sorry, not long. Your knees out wide, and go ahead and just bring your pillow right in towards your chest. If you want, you can add some more support, bring something for your head, whatever. And we're just going to come down into child's pose with our arms out, but our arms are going to go ahead, elbows on the ground, whichever. It's more about the stretch we're getting in our hips. Make sure you're pushed back towards your feet, and just go ahead and settle down. Turn the ear to the pillow. Now, like I said, you're not straining to get a stretch here. You're just going to kind of let your body relax slowly. And since now that we're here, I want you to take a second and pay attention to your breath. So when you're breathing, you should be bringing the air down into your stomach, filling up your stomach, and then the rest of your body. But I used to think, you want to take these really deep breaths and fill up your whole body until you feel like you're going to pop. But that's not necessarily the best way to do this. You kind of want to exhale, a long exhale, and let your body inhale naturally, without a pause, without thinking about it. It has to become something that just sort of is done by reflex. So take a second and think about your breath. Think about your lower abdomen, your stomach, around where your solar plexus is. And take a deep breath that fills up your whole belly, but then without pausing, exhale nice and slow and long, and inhale. Sometimes when we're counting our breath or really paying attention, we put those little pauses in there, but they're not going to, they're just going to interrupt your practice, and they're also going to kind of stop you from having oxygen for a little bit, which is not good. So go ahead, if you're got your head turned, you can turn it the other way. You can always put your head down on the ground. I like to keep mine up on my pillow for a little bit more support. Just sinking into your pillow or your blankets, or even the ground. If you said, I'm super flexible and I want to do this all without bolsters, that's fine too. Just pay attention. If you're going too deep, remember to pull back a little bit. But when it's a good stretch feeling and when it's a bad, I've gone too far feeling. You just pay attention to your body. Listen to what it's telling you. Start opening up those hips. And the reason I wanted to do a slower stretch today, and most days in between we'll do something quicker and slower if you've noticed, is because I really started this to get rid of tension in my hips and anger and bad feelings all around. So I hope that even if you started this just to stretch your hips, that if anything's coming up, you're exploring it and you're dealing with it. I know, we're almost there. Just a couple more breaths here.
Alright, you can go ahead, kind of, don't just jerk right up out of this, but slowly wake yourself up and ease on out. Very slow. Take your time sitting up. Really feel the benefits of what we've just done for those couple minutes. You can move your pillow to the side, or you might want it. I'll go over the options. So one sec. So we're going to go into that fire log pose. So we want to stack our feet. So bring down the left pose, or the left foot, left leg, with your shin parallel to the front of the mat. I'm trying to say too many things at once. So what you want to do is really take your time to set up this one, because we are going to be here for a long time. And so there's options. You can use a block. We're going to put it right here in between our knee and our foot, but you probably want something with more give, unless, that really feels right. I'm going to use my blanket. I folded it up, sort of, and I'm going to fold it one more time so it's a little fat blanket. You can use your pillow. You can use another smaller pillow if you really want to do that. It's up to you, whatever's going to feel good. And maybe you don't have any real space and you just use a little towel or a scarf. That's fine as well. So, okay, bring your left leg with your shin bone parallel to the front of the mat. And now you want to situate your hips so that you're in the center of that leg, in between the foot and the knee, just about, before you bring your right foot on top of the left. And then you might need to, sometimes I do, just rock your hip a little bit to bring this knee in alignment with the foot. You want them to be stacked on top. And from here, my hips are actually really tight for how much stretching we've been doing. So from here, we're going to take a second, sit up tall, put our hands behind us, support us for a second, see where our knee's at, and then you can decide, or insert your bolster. I think you want something with padding, because as we ease into this, it'll have a little give, and you just focus on slowly relaxing until maybe eventually you're completely relaxed and resting on top of your little padding here. So go ahead and inhale. We want to sit up nice and tall, zip up through the abs, up the chest. You can think about aligning all of your chakras. If you ever sit down to meditate, sometimes it's nice to think about the sort of energy meridian. It crosses in between the palate, like the roof of your mouth. It goes from, down at your root all the way up to the top, back down, crisscrosses on either side of the body. So up the front and then down the spine. And if you concentrate on it, you kind of feel that tingle like running through you. It's a good way to check in with your body and all your energy centers and all those parts. So again, want to remind you, remember to breathe. We're extending that belly out. And what helps here, I actually just learned this at a meditation retreat a couple days ago. It's if you sort of tighten up through the back muscles and down through the root, it'll help you sit up better, and it'll also relax your belly for breathing. It's pretty cool. A couple deep breaths. And what we're doing is, you can rest your hand on here, you can sit up straight, whatever you feel like you need. Or I guess maybe you can lean all the way forward if you're feeling flexible. We're just going to breathe and let this slowly settle, taking our time, paying attention again. And yeah, if your leg wants to fall to the side and it's not getting enough support, maybe you do need a block, or maybe you need to put another pillow or a bigger blanket in there. That's fine too. You want to be supported, you want to be comfortable, because this is going to be intense towards the end. It's going to take a little while to settle in, and it might change very suddenly if your body just says, oh, I found it, I'm loose. So remember to support that leg. So we'll go back to why we are doing the hip stretch challenge, at least why I started this hip stretch series. I don't really like to call it a challenge, because it's not something where you check the box, you did it, and you're done, you're good. It's about getting on the mat, being present, loosening up the hips, and at the end of it, if you feel changed and transformed, that's great. If you feel like you conquered something, also good, but that is not the point. The point is the journey and not the end result.
which I think is something kind of to remember for our entire lives. Sometimes, if you get too focused, on getting to the end of something, you forget to enjoy your life. If you just focus on finishing college and not on any of the fun stuff you can do while you're there or something, you've kind of missed out on great opportunities and on the reality of what life is like. So go ahead, we're going to take our last breath here. Take a deep breath, sit up nice and tall. Maybe take a second, rest that elbow or hand just to see if you're not already too deep or just deep enough, I guess. Go ahead, we're going to release that, and we'll take a second to shake out the legs. Give them a good stretch in either direction. Wiggle, whatever feels good. You can windshield wiper the legs. I always like to do that for my hip flexors. It kind of gives them a little rotation. And we're going to go on to the other side, so take a minute, see how you feel, and let's set up. So, right shin on the ground, parallel with the mat. Remember to be sort of in the center of your knees, which I am not. Shift over again. And then we're just going to bring that left foot on top. And then so you want to see if you're in line with your heel here. Well, sort of where the bone is, the bone that sticks out. I'm not sure what bone that is. Inhale. Exhale, get ready. Sit up nice and tall. See where you're at before you put that bolster in. Maybe you say, this side, I need a smaller bolster, or I need to unfold my blanket a little bit. Feel free. I'll just insert that there so it's sitting, not getting in the way of our movement, but supporting it. Sit up nice and tall. Exhale, settle into the pose. So this side of your body might be different. That's no big deal. That happens. They're each connected, to a different part of your brain, different part of your energy centers, I guess. Go ahead, relax. If you want, you can bring your hand or your elbow. If you're feeling like you need deeper, go deeper. Just remember, we are going to be here for a little while, so don't strain yourself, don't go too far. I want you to walk around feeling great because your hips are nice and loose, and not terrible because you went too far and strained yourself. See where your body's at, how you're feeling. So yeah, when I do a lot of deep hip stretching, I actually find that I develop sort of an anger problem. I get a lot more impatient and frustrated easily, and I can't deal with situations that are even a little bit irritating. And I think that's because when I was growing up, I was angry like that a lot of times. And as I got older, I kind of got over it, dealt with some of my problems, but that anger and that sort of part of my personality that I was born with is here in my hips. So when they start to get loose and I start to get angry, I realize that I actually need to deal with that and release it. So doing 30 days here is good for me because I get to really go deep with the anger and see where it's coming from and start dealing with things that you don't even know are affecting you, which I think can happen to anyone. And maybe you don't feel any anger when you loosen up your hips. Maybe you feel grief. Maybe you feel guilty. This is normal. For some reason, this is where we store a lot of that negative energy. So take the time, stretch your hips, and explore that. And as it's coming up, don't shy away from it. Go deeper, confront it, and Try not to be too terrible to anyone in your life while you're feeling these bad things. That's the most important part. But it's important to deal with those things in your past because sometimes they hold you back from being your true, authentic self. Let that leg settle a little bit more. Remember to sit up nice and tall, ground down. Feel your energy centers all the way from your root chakra to your crown chakra. You sort of light each one up at a time. You become a rainbow, and it's awesome. Take another deep breath. We're going to get ready to release this, so take your time coming out. Let the hands go. Remove that bolster. Go ahead and uncross the legs. Straighten them out. Maybe lean from side to side. I feel like that's what I need. You know, it's whatever you need on these little transitions, I should say. Because it's your body, and you know. Those little wiggles and the looseness, that's important too to the yoga. Even though it's not structured, it's not a technical pose. You know, it's you getting in touch with your body and understanding how things are working together. So, we're going to go ahead and come onto our backs. This one we're not going to hold as long. If you did the pelvic floor one, then it's not going to be that long. But what we're going to do, and this might take a minute for you to set up, we're going to bring our blocks on either side, and we're going to go into happy baby, not child's pose, happy baby. So go ahead, lay down, take a second. Your knees are going to be going kind of into your elbows, so place your blocks sort of where they need to be. You can put them down, flat, or up. I'm going to leave mine up because I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I'm going to be at. And we're going to bring the soles of our feet together, let the feet fall out for a second. We're going to transition a little differently than we usually do. You can bring your arms out to goalpost or on your heart and your stomach. Maybe your block, if you are using blocks, they might be in your way. Oh, and if you don't have blocks, you know, you can use some nice pillows or a couple of rolled up towels. That'll work too. And then we're going to lift up the soles of our feet. We've done it this way before, right? Where you reach through and you grab the soles of your feet. And if you are a beginner or you know, don't particularly enjoy full happy baby, it's not great for your hips or something, feel free to stay here. This is an option. But if you want to open up, go ahead and grab on the inside of your feet. And we're going to rock back. Oops, and I've misplaced my blocks, so a little bit higher up, I guess. And flat for me. Seems to be right, so go ahead and adjust those. And you might not be fully rested on them. If they're really far away, you want something that's going to come up higher. But they're there for if we get down there. Now remember, your spine should be flat. Your sacrum should be flat. Your sacrum is your bottom vertebrae that are fused together right in your butt area, around the tailbone. Keep it nice and flat, and try to bring these up to 45 degrees. And we're going to relax them back towards the armpits. You might feel your spine popping a little bit, getting in alignment. That's fine. As long as, you know, nothing painful is happening, there's no big pops or crunches, and you're breathing. Even with your legs up like this, you should still be inflating the belly, heating up that area right below the rib cage and above the groin, where your sacral chakra and your solar plexus chakra sort of reside. And remember now, we're in this for a while, so adjust the feet a tiny bit. We got about 5 more breaths. Now, final breath if you want to. Maybe take a second and extend the legs out.
A little bit different areas getting stretched when you do that. And then exhale. We'll bring the feet back together. Inhale and exhale. Stretch them out long. So you can move your blocks out of the way, or your pillows or whatever. And get ready. We're going to go into Savasana. Settle in. Feel the floor holding you up, the earth supporting you. Let your feet fall out to the side. Maybe not as dramatically as my hands are making it seem. Gently let your feet fall out to the side. And we'll turn our palms up to the sky. Make sure our shoulder blades are down, not sticking up and hooked on the ground. Feeling everything, relaxing, melting from your toes to your head. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, start twiddling your fingers and toes, move around. If you want to stay in Savasana, just turn me off and stay here, relaxing. We're going to inhale and bring our arms up long. Get a nice stretch, maybe take a wiggle. Exhale, plant the foot behind. Roll onto the side. Curl the legs in. Take a minute. Another deep breath. And when you're ready, you can come up to seated. Okay guys, that was a very slow stretch. Hopefully you feel nice and limber. It's a good thing to do before bed or as a cool down from an exercise. If you're already heated up, you'll be able to stretch even deeper with that one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.